So, good day, class. So, let me allow to introduce myself first. I am Teacher Lloyd. So, how are you feeling today, class? Okay, very good. So, today we are going to talk about Literature 102. So, but before that, I am going to check attendance first. Oh, no one is absent for today. So, um, before you're going to sit down, so please pick up the pieces of trashes under your table. Okay? So let's start. So let's have the activity first. So our activity was all about judging by appearances. So did you try to judge people based on their appearance? Anyone? Okay, nice idea. So this one. Have you ever judged someone before really getting to know them? So did you try that one, class? Okay. So how about this one? So has anyone ever judged you unfairly based on how you look or act? So did you experience that one, everyone? Okay, do you have anything naka-experience mo na? Okay, so nice to hear that one. So So before we are going to proceed, so let's have the activity first. So entitled Judging by Its Appearance. Okay? So here, so I am going to show you the picture. Then after that, so there is a follow-up questions about the picture that I have that showed in the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so just observe the picture first, then answer the question. Okay, this one, first question. So, which one do you think is kinder? Okay, anyone? Okay, nice idea. So, let's give them three claps. Okay, very good. So, how about this one? So, which more looks more successful? So, based on the picture, so which looks more successful? Okay. So, so how was the activity, everyone? So, is it fun or exciting or what? Okay. So, I heard some your ideas and your thoughts about our activity. So, let's proceed to the our discussion for today. So, our topic is all about Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. So, but before that, so let's um, introduce who is the author of Pride and Prejudice. So, the author of and Prejudice was Jane Austen. So, Jane Austen plots often explore the dependence of women during on marriage and the pursuit of favorable social standing and economic security. Then, um, Jane Austen was an English novelist known for her six major novels: Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, Mansfield Park, Emma, Persuasion, and Northanger Abbey. So, and also she was the seventh child out of eight of George Austen and Cassandra Lay. She was a great novelist of a romantic age of Wordsworth, and also her novels was inspired many films like Sense and Sensibility in 1995, Pride and Prejudice in 2005, and many more. So marriage, love, and domestic life were basic themes of her work. So before that, so let's have the introduction of The Pride of Prejudice. So Pride and Prejudice is one of the most celebrated novels of Jane Austen and was also her personal favorite. So Pride and Prejudice, published in 3 volumes by Thomas Egerton on 28 January 1813, was originally titled First Impressions, and it became an immediate success among the fashionable novel reading public. So it belongs to the genre of realistic fiction. The central theme of the novel are marriage, love, wealth, class, and reputation. So, okay, let's talk about the main characters of The Pride and Prejudice. So, first, let's have Mr. Bennet. So, Mr. Bennet, a sarcastic man, fond of his two eldest daughters. So, second, Mrs. Bennet, uncertain temper, a little silly, favors Jane and Lydia. So, next is Jane Bennet, the most beautiful Bennet daughter, good heart and gentle nature. So next is Elizabeth Bennet. So a bold, intelligent, witty sense of humor. Mary Bennet, a plain personality, loves reading, singing, and playing piano. Kitty Bennet as a source of embarrassment to Bennet family and irritable. Next is the Lydia Bennet. So it's the youngest Bennet, attractive but reckless. So next is Charles Bingley. He's a handsome, friendly, good-natured, and wealthy. So next is Caroline Bingley. It's a sister of Mr. Bingley. So Mrs. Hurst, also a sister of Mr. Bingley, and next one is Fitzwilliam Darcy. It's a best friend of Bingley. It's a tall, handsome, proud, wealthy, and land-owning aristocrat. So next is Georgina Darcy, it's the sister of Darcy. So George Wickham, a handsome military officer, fortune hunter. So next is Charlotte Lucas, it's a best friend of Elizabeth. So next we have Mr. Collins, the ridiculous cousin of Mr. Bennet, who will be inheriting the entire Bennet estate after Mr. Bennet's death due to illegal structure. So it's one is Lady Catherine de Bourgh, Darcy's arrogant aunt and patron of Mr. Collins. So next is Anne de Bourgh, or the daughter of Lady Catherine de Bourgh. So next is the Mr. and Mrs. Gardiner, a happy couple with 4 children, brother and sister-in-law of Mrs. Bennet. So let's talk about the Bennet family. So the Bennet family belongs to the middle class. The family consists of Mr. and Mrs. Bennet and their 5 daughters. The family had wide varieties of emotion, such as calmness, boldness, confusion, excitement, and sarcasm. So let's talk about Jane and Bingley. So they are both have similarities, like both they are cheerful, friendly, good-natured, and attractive. So despite the huge social and economic difference, Bingley proposes to Jane and lives very happy and prosperous life. So Elizabeth and Darcy's relationship dominates the novel. So in the beginning, she dislikes Darcy, but later she gets to know that Mr. Darcy was not wrong, and then she also begins to love him. Then they get married and lived a cheerful life.
So now let's move to the summary of the story, Pride and Prejudice. The novel begins with a very famous line. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in a want of a wife. The novel is set in rural England in the early 19th century. Mr. Bingley, a rich single man, moves to the Netherfield estate. Mrs. Bennet hopes to marry one of her daughters to him. The Bennet sisters meet Bingley and Darcy in a local ball. While Bingley is friendly, Darcy is too proud to talk to the locals. Elizabeth overhears Darcy refusing to dance with her, which makes her dislike him instantly. Mr. Bingley and Jane get attached to each other. Mr. Darcy also finds himself getting attracted to Elizabeth because of her charm and intelligence. Elizabeth despises Darcy. She is attracted to George Wickham, who tells her that his father worked for Darcy's father and Darcy cruelly cheated him of an inheritance. Mr. Cullen visited Bennet family to inherit the Bennet estate after Mr. Bennet's death. He wants to marry Elizabeth, but she refuses him. He then proposed to Charlotte Lucas and they get married. Jane finds out that the Bingleys have left for London. Elizabeth gets angry and suspects that Bingley's sister and Darcy are trying to separate him from Jane. Elizabeth visits Charlotte at her new home in Hunsford. She meets Lady Catherine de Bois, aunt of Darcy and patron of Collins. Darcy visits his aunt soon after Elizabeth arrives there. He proposes to her, but she refuses, believing that he is responsible for Jane's separation from Bingley and Wickham's misfortune. Darcy gives a letter to her explaining his role in keeping Bingley away from Jane, and also stating the fact Wickham's situation. She realizes that Darcy has never done anything wrong. She is shocked at her own prejudice and pride, which resulted in her prejudice against Darcy. Elizabeth goes on a trip with Mr. and Mrs. Gardiner to Derbyshire, where they visit Darcy's estate of Pemberley. They meet Darcy and surprised at how graciously he treats them. Elizabeth starts loving Mr. Darcy. Later, she receives a letter from Jane stating that Lydia ran away with Wickham. Elizabeth and the Gardiners leave for home, worrying about the disgrace of the Bennet family. Finally, they found and married. Elizabeth discovers that Darcy had played significant role in finding them also in marriage, thereby saving reputation of the Bennet family. Bingley returns to Netherfield and proposes to Jane, which she accepts gladly. Elizabeth's happiness is interrupted by a visit from Lady Catherine, who has heard a rumor that Darcy and Elizabeth are engaged. She lectures Elizabeth on impossibility of such match and demands her to deny the proposal from Mr. Darcy, but Elizabeth refuses to do so. Later, Darcy proposes to Elizabeth and again she happily accepts. So now, to sum up all about the summary of the story Pride and Prejudice, on how Elizabeth judged Mr. Darcy towards his personal appearance, not knowing how Mr. Darcy is being good and kind person. So her prejudice grows stronger when she meets Mr. Wickham, who told her that Mr. Darcy is one of the person who caused Wickham's misfortune in life. But later on on the story, as he know Mr. Darcy slowly, as Elizabeth know uh, slowly knowing Mr. Darcy, she realized that Mr. Darcy is not a bad person, but a good person, because Mr. Darcy explains to Elizabeth that he didn't do anything to cause Wickham's misfortune in life. So, for me, the realization here is, don't judge the book by its cover, because not all person that we see outside, like as an arrogant person, is a bad person. Not all. But try to know that person more, so that you will know her from what's inside of her or him. Because knowing someone deeply is different from knowing someone outside of their appearance. So, is judging someone good? For me, it's bad, because you cannot judge someone by their appearance. You can judge someone only if you know what they did, and if you know what they did to you. Or you can judge someone if they really commit that kind of incident to someone's life or to your life. So that's my realization about the story of Pride and Prejudice.
So since we're done with our discussion, now let's proceed with our activity. So our activity is that you will share a real or imagine examples, no, from modern life. It's either at school, on social media, or in your circle, no, in your friendship, that relates to our quote: judging someone based on first impressions can cause misunderstanding. Okay, so I'll give you 5 minutes to prepare, and after that, I will be calling you one by one to share your answers. Okay? Any questions or clarifications? Okay, so since none, you may now start. Okay, so thank you everyone for participating. Let's give everyone a round of applause. So now for your assessment, I will be only sending you a G-form link. No, and once you click the link, the time will automatically start. Okay, so don't worry because the questions are all easy. So I'll give you 10 minutes to answer. Okay, so time is up. So after the class, you will know your score, including the correct answers. So that you have a material to study, for the upcoming midterm. Okay, so now for your assignment is you will write the sequence, of the story Pride and Prejudice using the plot diagram. So below that is the format, which it has exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution, including the theme. Now the exposition, this is the um the introduction of the story, no, and then in the rising action, is this is where the problem starts, and then in the climax, this is the most intense or the most exciting part of the story, and then in the falling action, this is where the problem starts to resolve, and then the resolution is the ending, or the resolution of the problem, or this is where the resolution of the problem happens, no, in the resolution or the denouement. And including the theme, you will determine what's the theme of the story. Okay, so any questions or clarifications? Okay, so since none, um we're done, no? So let's conclude the class with a quote: don't judge someone just because they seen differently than you. So This quote relates to our topic no, today because it reflects how Elizabeth and Darcy misjudge each other, no, based on the pride, social class, no, and the first impressions. No, it reminds us that everyone has flaws, right? And true misunderstanding comes from seeing beyond mistakes and differences. No? Just as Elizabeth and Darcy eventually learned to do. Okay? So we're done. I hope you learned something from us. Okay? And um you have questions or clarifications? Okay, so since none, let's end the class. Goodbye.